It was 13 years ago, more or less. I was on a balcony in my flat in Auckland, smoking a cigarette and looking at the main road, going straight. There was hundreds of people walking up and down, up and down, up and down. Then a girl passed by, sunglasses on, and I noticed her among the hundreds of people passing by, and I knew 100% she was Korean, and I needed to talk to her. I threw the cigarette, I ran at the ground floor, tried to chase her, to stop her, but she was gone. That's where all started. A morning on my day off in Auckland on a sunny day, and the beginning of a journey that led me almost 13 years later in Seoul for the second time, for the same reason I came the first time. I remember very clearly that from that day all I wanted was to meet this girl again, and somehow, I would keep bumping on her, but it wasn't the right time. Like sometime I was on the bus, and out of blue I would see her on the street, or sometime I was walking on the road and look inside the bus. She was there, and it wasn't never the right time. But I wasn't worried. I wasn't concerning. I was just going with the flow of life, and just at that time, I did discover this book called The Secret, and trying to, follow all the rules of the law of attraction. I was actually going through one of my best time since I arrived in Auckland, especially after the first period where I was really in a very dark time, and so I believe that this girl was attracted to me because of that reason, because I was in the present moment. I would focus in the now, and all I was worried was just about enjoy the present moment, and that's why I truly believe that she showed up in my life and got me to take the right direction, and it took me after many years to choose what I believe to be the right principle, the right values. If I didn't meet her, it would not happen. Maybe it would happen later on with someone else or for some other reason, but that period, it happened because I really believe my inner energy was high. I was going with the flow of life, and I was living constantly in the present moment. And I remember I could feel the peace, the contentment, and the joy in that period. So that's how all started. Until one day, and finally I met her. I was working in this cafe in front of Britomart train station at the beginning of Queen Street, and the cafe I think doesn't exist anymore. It was called Number One Queen Street Cafe. Beautiful coffee shop, great vibes, in a glass box, all glasses. I I would say probably it was the perfect job for me. I could meet people, talk to anyone, customer or people walking by. So it was a great time. And again, I believe that I came across this place because again, I was going with the flow of life, living in the now. And it was an afternoon. I turned around and she was there talking to a old lady. So I remember as soon as seen her, it's like I go to talk. I love it. Like I live at the cafe and run, toward her. And I remember you know, to say, "Oh, you Korean," and she was so surprised about that. So we had a chit chat, and I thought that she was her mother, but actually it was someone that she just met her. So I go back in the shop. I get a loyalty card for free coffee, and I tell her that I hope you know, to see her at the cafe, and she will get a free coffee. So like very happy she leaves, and only after she left I realized that I didn't write my phone number. So it's like, you know, sort of like, oh, like another chance missed. And but I was like, all right, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So I wasn't concerned, and that's what happened. A few days later, I was going back home, and instead to walk back on the same route that was just going up on Queen Street, because my flat was literally at the end of Queen Street, at the corner, at the cross with the K Road. And that day I decided to take another route. There's a parallel that run next to Queen Street, and I was about to cross the road when I saw her coming from the other side. And that's like, like I stop her, and I say, it's like, oh, look, it's like I wanted to get to know you more, and I forgot to give you my phone number. Please take my phone number, and feel free to call me if you fancy for a drink. And in the evening, I receive a message. You know, she says like she says that she was happy to meet me, and I was very happy to go for a drink sometime. So a few days later, we met for a coffee, and we go to Harbor Park, and lying on the grass, looking at the city. You know, I told all the story. Like how I noticed her on Queen Street, and how I knew she was Korean. Even I didn't know. I just knew, and and how we ended up meeting, and she tells me like, it was meant to be. I know it was meant to be. So we meet one more time, and we go. At the time, I remember we went to Takapuna. We lying on the beach. She goes to get change, and as she walks to me, like for a second, it was like seeing like an angel. I will never forget. It was the most beautiful vision probably I ever seen. And nothing. We talk, and then we go to swim, and we kiss. But you know, we might think it's the beginning of a love story, but it's not, because at the time, I was, at the beginning of this new journey that then I embrace now, and I would say, still in the material side of life. So all I wanted was just fun and sex, and and I didn't mess around. I was seeing another woman as well at the same time, that with who I messed around as well. That obviously played this other woman played a big role in my change and made me understand many things. So ended up that she decided to leave. She decided to leave because she saw that nothing would happen between us, and she felt that it was time for her to go back to Korea. I remember that the last day we met was pouring rain, and I remember to tell her that it was the sky crying her departure, and leaving Auckland, and after she left, all of a sudden I felt such a grief and sadness. It felt like a part of my soul was gone as well. I was so sad for so many months. I was so sad, to the point that my health deteriorated a bit, the heavy asthma attacks that ended up take me to the hospital one night, that I couldn't seriously breathe. That was the first time it would happen to me, and at that day, it's literally the beginning of my, I would say, connection. Since that day until now, there haven't been a day that I didn't think about this woman. She was my first thought in the morning, and she was my last thought at night. Every day, thinking about if I didn't die, if I didn't die. It was sometimes it was like so painful. It was so painful, but I never made the move. I never made the move, even when I had to leave Auckland. And that probably was the universe actually listening to my desire to wanted to meet her again. And moving to London, I did have the opportunity so many times, but I did somehow. I never really wanted to do it, so I made the main excuse to don't go. One reason because of that, one other reason because of another thing, and I never made the move. Even when living in London, I could have go so many times to to South Korea. I could leave, go back to work, and leave and go back to work. So there was no other reason than me just not making any move except keep thinking about this girl in a daily basis and not making any move. And there was a period where I tried to cut those cords of attachment, and that's actually when I had that big experience in a night where I woke up with all those energy from my fingertips, and that was another period where I was living in the now, in the present moment, going with the flow. That's when where I cut those cord of attachment. That eventually, at some point, I remember after many months that I did move on. At the time I was working in this cafe in Fulham and talking to one of my customers, a French lady who was always coming there with the German Shepherd, you know, talking about girls and girls that I miss. She tells me, why you don't contact her? Like you should contact her again. And that's when I did contact her again, and everything restarted. All those emotions, all those range of emotion, where there was always this if. Uh, so I did then made it to Seoul the first time, and there was a roller coaster of events that took me there. I and in the meantime, I met this other girl that obviously the universe has a sarcastic way to play, and this girl was had the same name of the girl that at the time I kind of break up. Her name was Kaori. At the time that actually because I met this Korean girl, me and Kaori, the first Kaori, I decided to took some time off from each other, and somehow I ended up meeting another Kaori, and it actually was going great with this girl until a friend from Thailand contacted me saying that he wanted to open a cafe, and he would have been very happy to have me in Bangkok just to talk and discuss about it. That's when I did decide to go to Thailand, but before going to Thailand, there have been some events that made me decide to actually go first in Seoul, and then to Thailand. Well, I will tell you more in the next video.